But when we create these scripts and we put them somewhere, we need to be able to find them back and run them. And of course, anybody we're making them for would need to be able to find them and run them. Now, we talked about this a little bit already. We talked about the fact that there is a path variable. And it says it has it in a list of the directories where the bash shell should look to find scripts. Now, if we're creating ones for ourselves and we want bash to be able to find the scripts we've made, we have two choices. We can have a folder that we've made to store them in, like what we've done so far, and we can put that path into our path variable. We can add it to the list of directories to be searched. Or we can copy or move our scripts into some path or directory that's already in our path variable. It's actually very common for people who create a lot of tools for themselves to create a personal directory called bin in their home directory and to put all their scripts and tools that they've created in their own personal bin directory. And then you would add that bin onto the path. In our case, we're not going to make a separate bin directory. We don't need to. We already have a special directory to hold the scripts we're working on, comp2101/bash, in our home directory. So that's what we would want to add to our path. Now there's an environment file called .bashrc. It's in your home directory already. It's a file that was put there when your account got created. And what we want to do is add a new line in that file that's the same as the last thing on this slide, where it says path in capitals equals $, capitals path, then a colon, and then the actual path to where our scripts are. Okay? And the reason for that is in our lab so far, for those who have already got all three files created, you were able to run those by typing in bash and the name of the file, telling bash where to find the script to run. Okay? The other way you can run these is by telling bash where to find them. Okay? In order to do that, the files need to be executable, and we have to tell bash the full path. So to do that with our hello world, we would do a change mode to add the execute to our file. And then on the next line, we can run it by saying, look in the current directory, ./helloworld.sh. Okay. If we don't want to have to put the ./ on it, we still need the permissions to be right, but we could change our path. You can see your existing one with echo $path. You can use the command from the slide to add the folder where your scripts are. In our case, that's home directory /comp2101/bash onto our path. And we need to put that line in bashrc using VI or nano. And then it will work that we can just type the name of the script. So let's just go through that one together because that one's just a little more complicated. Okay. So first, if I go to my virtual machine so we can see what we're doing here, I have a comp2101/bash folder, just like you do. In my comp2101-bash folder, I only have the hello world script. I haven't created the other ones yet, but that's okay. We can do this part with even just one script. We already ran this script. We ran it last week, and we had to say ./helloworld.sh. We had to tell bash where to find the script. Now, dot means current directory, and this is just a really short way of typing it. But any path that would reach it is fine. I could have said, go to my home directory, then go into comp2101, then go into bash, then find the file called helloworld.sh and run it. And it would still work. So what I really want to do is get this directory in the path that is automatically looked in by bash. And I do that by adding it to the path variable. I'm going to do this in a file that gets run every time I start bash so that my path is always there. I'm going to use VI because I'm a VI guy from way back. If you're more comfortable in nano, you can use nano. Same difference. They're just to edit the file. So when you call up the existing bashrc, you're going to see that there are lots of things already in there. This file was created when your account got created during the Ubuntu installation. This was put here automatically for you. Okay? And what we want to do is add our comp2101 bash directory to our path. So like it showed on the slide, we're going to put in a line that says path equals $path colon, which means keep the old path and add on to it the folder that holds my scripts, the directory. So tilde slash the repository name, which hopefully for everybody is comp2101, slash bash, because that's where my script files are. So now when I've added this line right here to my .bashrc file, then the next time I start a bash shell, it will add that to my path, and I won't have to tell it where to find any script that I make in that directory. I'll just be able to type the name of the script and it will run. Let's prove it. I'm going to save this. And when I start a new terminal, it will have my new path. I'm going to put these two windows side by side because in the original window, I changed the .bashrc, that's the settings file for bash, to know about the path. But that file only gets read when we start the bash shell. So the fact that I changed it doesn't change our existing terminal window. So if I use that command from the instructions to look at my path by echo $path, it says, well, it was looking in user local sbin, then it was going to look in user local bin, then user sbin, then user bin, then sbin, and so on. But you'll notice my comp2101 bash is not in this list, which means in this shell, it won't look in that folder. And I could type out hello world.sh and press enter, and it's going to tell me it can't find it. And that's because it takes my command and looks in the first directory. Then it looks in the next one, then the next one, then the next one, next one, next one, next one, next one. Looks in the last one, it still hasn't found it, so it tells me command was not found. It can't run it. That's why I had to tell it, look in the current directory, you dummy. There's my hello world file. I can type it. And it will find it because I told it where to look. I don't want to have to tell it all the time. So I put it in my bashrc. And now when I start shells, if I look at the path, the new shells will have the original directories, and check out the one that's at the end. That's the one that I added to my path in the bashrc file. So now, since it will look in that directory, I could just type hello world sh, and it will find it and it will run it. And it will do that with any file I put in that directory that's a runnable and executable script. We can prove that. If I go in here and I make a new file in that bash folder called hello world templated.sh, and in that file I put in #bin/bash, put in a comment, put in cat until we read EOF, hello world, I am process number, end of input. Now, while I was typing, you probably noticed Adam was putting up little red dots and various things warning me. I had problems and I wasn't worried about them because I also wasn't done typing. But if I had made a mistake here, you'll notice Adam is warning me, hey, you started something looking for EOF and you didn't finish it right. So Adam was trying to help me and I can fix it. Okay. So if I save this file now, this is my original window. If I look in that directory, I've got two files. You'll notice one is green and one is white. The difference, the green one I made executable last week. I can run it as a program. The second one, I haven't made it executable yet. So if I wanted to run it as a program, make the script executable and then you can run it, right? Make your script executable and you can run it. So I need to make this new one executable. Change mode, add execute permission to my new file. This is my old shell. Remember, this one doesn't have the right path. It doesn't have them all. So in this one, if I try to run hello world templated sh, it's not going to find it. The new one, because it has that path, will find it and run it. So in truth, I'm really done with this first window because it's got an old path. I don't even want the old path. I should get rid of this window because it doesn't know the latest information about my path. There is another thing you can do. Instead of starting a new shell, when you change the bash startup file. I did put it in the instructions, and that's this one right here. If we had to add our directory to our path right now without starting a new window, we can tell bash, source that file, read it right now, do it right now, don't wait for a new window. So let's go back to here. We know that our path is incomplete right now in this shell. If I source the bashrc, tell it run all the commands in there, it should update my path. And now if I look, it should have the new path even in this window. And it does. So now I can type hello world templated and it will find it and run it in every window. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions about how that worked? I need to get that chat window back. It keeps going away.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
If you want to take out the till sign and run the source command right from your home directory where you have the DNS, what do you do?
You can. When I typed source and I put tilde /bashrc, that's what we call a full path. No matter what directory I'm in right now, it will find the right file because I told it. Start in my home directory. That's what the tilde means. And look in there for .bashrc. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, we're not going to do a screen share right now. Can you tell me what the question is? Okay. All right. So that's all that we need to know about our path variable, about storing files in a folder, about modifying our path, and about running a script in the current bash process. Now there's some extra instructions in here you'll see when you go through it that have you use the PS command to see what shell you're in. So what that means is, if I say PS, show me my processes, it says the bash command running in this terminal window is process number 5242. Okay? If I were to do the same thing here, this is a different window and it has a different bash process. And I should find that the process ID number is different because there's two separate bash processes here. And that's also why they had different settings. They were separate processes. Now, when we run a shell script like this, by running the command, it makes a new process to run in. Our hello world is telling us the process number of the script. And what we would find is when I run that, every time I run it, I should get a new process number because it's making a new bash shell to run the script in every time. If we ran a shell script this way, and we wanted the things that happened in the script to change something in our current shell, in the shell we're in right now, it wouldn't do it. Why? Because each time we run this script, it makes a new bash process to run in. It runs the script, that bash exits, and whatever it did is now gone. It hasn't affected the shell we're typing our commands into. If we want to affect our current shell, that is actually what the source command is for. If I were to source the hello world file, that means run the script without making a new process. Run it in my current bash shell. If I do it in this window, it should run in process 5242, which is my current bash shell. And indeed, that's what it does. If I were to run that with a source in the next window, I have to give it the path for a source. This one should say that it's running in process 12571. I have to type source right. And indeed it does. So hopefully everybody can see the difference between sourcing a script to make it run in the current shell and running a script in a new shell. Depends on which process they run in. So that's all about script storage and how to make sure your scripts can be found when you type them in as commands.